87% of SRE teams spend more time fighting fires than preventing them, and AI agents just flipped that ratio completely.
Wait, are you saying AI can actually prevent outages before they happen? So we're breaking down how these agents work, what they can automate, and which tasks they're taking over first?
By minute 4, you'll know exactly which SRE workflows to automate tomorrow. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Platform Engineering Playbook Daily Podcast. Today's news and a deep dive to help you stay ahead in platform engineering.
Today we're diving into the Agentic revolution, a new vision for SREs.
Stick around to the end for this week's headlines. Let's dive right in.
So let's talk about the supposed agentic revolution that's coming for SREs. The article paints this picture of AI agents transforming site reliability engineering from reactive firefighting to proactive system management. But I've got to say, Alex, I'm seeing a lot of promise mixed with some pretty significant challenges.
Yeah, I noticed they're positioning this as fundamentally different from just using ChatGPT to help debug issues. They're talking about autonomous agents that can actually execute remediations. That's a huge leap from where most teams are today.
Exactly. And here's what's fascinating. They're framing SREs as becoming supervisors of a new digital workforce. That's not just automation, that's a complete reimagining of the role. Think about it. Google invented SRE back in 2003 to bring engineering discipline to operations. Now, 21 years later, we're talking about handing over significant portions of that discipline to AI agents.
But hold on, when they talk about agents surfacing useful contextual information and suggesting where an issue has originated, isn't that what good observability platforms already do? I mean, Datadog's been correlating metrics and logs for years now.
You're right to push on that. The difference they're claiming is autonomy. Current tools require human interpretation and action. These agents would theoretically diagnose, decide, and execute without human intervention for low-risk, well-understood issues. But that raises the question, who defines what's low risk, and what happens when the agent's confidence threshold is wrong?
That's my worry. I've seen plenty of well-understood issues cascade into major outages because of unexpected dependencies. Remember that Google Cloud outage in 2019? Started with a simple configuration change that their automation thought was safe.
And that's exactly why this matters for our listeners. Platform engineers are the ones who'll be implementing these systems. They need to understand not just the potential, but the pitfalls. The article mentions that agents will continuously learn from SRE feedback, but that assumes SREs will have time to provide quality feedback while managing both traditional incidents and training their AI replacements.
What really caught my attention was how they distinguish between SRE and DevOps. They say SRE brings an engineering discipline to operations, but if we're delegating to AI agents, doesn't that risk losing that engineering rigor?
That's the core tension here. The whole point of SRE was to apply software engineering practices to operations, things like error budgets, SLOs, blameless postmortems. If agents are handling incidents autonomously, how do we maintain those cultural practices? How do we ensure knowledge transfer when humans are only handling the most complex or novel issues?
And speaking of knowledge transfer, what happens to junior SREs? If AI is handling all the routine incidents, how do they build the pattern recognition and troubleshooting skills they need for those complex issues?
Coming up, we'll dig into exactly how organizations are trying to implement these agent-based systems, what's actually working in production, and what's still science fiction. Plus, we'll look at some real numbers on what this means for SRE team productivity and system reliability. All right, so let's get into the technical reality of what these AI agents can actually do today versus what's being promised. I've been talking to teams at companies like Uber and Shopify who are experimenting with this stuff, and the picture is complicated.
What are they actually using agents for? Because the article talks about executing diagnostics and remediations, but that's pretty vague.
So here's what's working today. Teams are using agents for three main categories. First, intelligent alerting and noise reduction. One fintech company I spoke with reduced their alert volume by 73% by using agents to correlate and deduplicate alerts before they hit on-call engineers. That's not sexy, but it's huge for reducing fatigue.
That's significant. Alert fatigue is killer for SRE teams. What about the actual remediation side?
That's where it gets interesting. The most successful implementations I'm seeing are for very specific, bounded problems. For example, one e-commerce platform has agents that automatically scale their Kubernetes clusters based on predicted traffic patterns. They're seeing a 99.97% success rate on those auto-scaling decisions. But here's the catch. It took them 8 months to build enough confidence to let the agent act autonomously.
8 months? That's a huge investment. What was the training process like?
They started with the agent in shadow mode. It would make recommendations, but not act on them. SREs would review every decision, provide feedback, and gradually increase the agent's autonomy. They found that the agent needed to see at least 500 similar incidents before its recommendations became reliable, and even then, they're only letting it handle about 15% of their total incident volume.
Only 15%? The article makes it sound like agents will handle everything except the most complex issues.
Exactly. There's a massive gap between the vision and current reality. Let me give you another data point. PagerDuty's latest report shows that teams using their AI-assisted incident response are resolving incidents 32% faster on average. That's great, but it's AI-assisted, not AI autonomous. The human is still very much in the loop.
What about the runbook generation the article mentions? That seems like lower-hanging fruit than autonomous remediation.
Now that's where I'm seeing real progress. Netflix's engineering team has been using agents to generate and update runbooks based on incident patterns. They're reporting that 67% of their runbooks are now at least partially AI-generated. The key insight is that the agent isn't just templating, it's actually learning from post-mortem data and incorporating lessons learned.
That's clever. So it's capturing institutional knowledge that might otherwise be lost.
Precisely. But here's the trade-off nobody talks about. One SRE director told me their team spends 20% more time now reviewing and validating AI-generated content than they used to spend writing runbooks manually. The quality is higher, but it's not a pure time save.
That's a crucial point. What about the skill degradation concern? If agents are handling routine issues, how do SREs maintain their edge?
This is the elephant in the room. Google's own SRE team has been studying this. They found that engineers who rely heavily on AI assistance for troubleshooting show 23% slower problem-solving speeds when the AI isn't available. It's like GPS navigation, great when it works, but you lose your sense of direction.
That's terrifying for disaster recovery scenarios where your AI might be part of what's broken.
Exactly. Smart organizations are implementing what they call AI-free days, regular exercises where teams troubleshoot without agent assistance. It's like disaster recovery drills, but for human skills.
What about the cost angle? Training and running these agents can't be cheap.
You're absolutely right. One enterprise I spoke with is spending $2.3 million annually on their AI agent infrastructure. That's compute, training, and specialized engineering time. They're projecting break-even at year 3, assuming they can reduce their SRE headcount by 30%. But that's a big assumption, and it doesn't account for the hidden costs of maintaining and updating these systems.
Reducing headcount by 30%? That's going to create some serious morale issues.
And that's why the most successful implementations I'm seeing aren't focusing on headcount reduction. They're using agents to handle growth without adding people. One gaming company handled a 4x increase in traffic with the same SRE team size by leveraging agents for routine scaling and performance optimization tasks.
That makes way more sense. Use AI to handle the growth curve, not to replace existing expertise.
Stick around. In our final segment, we'll give you the exact framework for evaluating whether your organization is ready for agent-based SRE, plus a practical roadmap for getting started without betting the farm. Act 3. Takeaways. So, after all this analysis, let's get practical. If you're a platform engineer or SRE leader listening to this, what should you actually do with this information?
Yeah, because it feels like we're in this awkward middle ground where the technology is promising but not quite ready for prime time.
Exactly. So here's my framework for thinking about this. First, start with the problem, not the technology. Map out where your SRE team spends their time. I'm talking about a real-time audit over at least 2 weeks. Most teams I work with are surprised to find that 40 to 60% of their time goes to tasks that could theoretically be automated, but only about 10 to 15% are actually good candidates for current AI agents.
What makes a good candidate versus a bad one?
Good candidates have three characteristics. First, they're repetitive and well-documented. Think certificate renewals, log rotation issues, or predictable scaling events. Second, they have clear success criteria. The agent needs to know definitively whether its action worked. Third, and this is crucial, the blast radius is limited. If the agent screws up, it can't take down your entire platform.
That seems like a pretty narrow set of tasks.
It is, and that's okay. Start narrow. One team I advised began with just automated disk space cleanup on their development environments. Boring? Yes, but it saved 4 hours a week and built confidence in the approach. After 6 months, they expanded to automated database connection pool tuning, then to intelligent log sampling during high traffic events.
What about the skill degradation issue we talked about? How do you prevent your team from losing their edge?
3 strategies are working well. First, implement rotation policies. Every SRE should spend at least 20% of their time on hands-on troubleshooting without AI assistance. Second, use agents as teaching tools. Have them explain their reasoning, not just their actions. One company built a debug mode where the agent walks through its decision tree step by step. It's actually helping junior engineers learn faster.
That's brilliant, using AI to accelerate learning rather than replace it.
The third strategy is what I call chaos engineering for humans. Regularly simulate incidents where the AI agents are unavailable or giving incorrect recommendations. It keeps skills sharp and reveals dependencies you didn't know you had.
What about the organizational side? How do you sell this to leadership without overpromising?
This is where most initiatives fail. Don't lead with headcount reduction or cost savings. Instead, focus on velocity and reliability metrics. Show how agents can reduce mean time to recovery, increase deployment frequency, or improve SLO compliance. One director got buy-in by demonstrating that agents could help them meet their 99.99% uptime target without hiring 6 additional SREs.
That's smart. Focus on outcomes, not labor replacement.
Now, let's talk about what to watch for in the next 12 to 18 months. I'm seeing 3 major trends. First, specialized SRE agents that understand specific platforms deeply. Imagine an agent that doesn't just know Kubernetes, but knows your specific Kubernetes setup, your custom operators, your traffic patterns.
Like domain-specific models versus general purpose?
Exactly. The second trend is what I call agent mesh. Multiple specialized agents working together. One handles metrics analysis, another manages remediation, a third updates documentation. They coordinate through well-defined interfaces, kind of like microservices for operations.
That sounds like it could get complex fast.
It could, which is why the third trend is crucial: explainable AI for operations. Regulators and auditors are starting to ask hard questions about automated decision-making in critical infrastructure. The agents that will win are those that can clearly explain their reasoning in terms that both engineers and auditors can understand.
So where does this leave SREs? What skills should they be developing?
The SREs who'll thrive are those who can design and train these systems, not just use them. Learn prompt engineering, yes, but also focus on system design, chaos engineering, and complex problem solving. The routine tasks might get automated, but designing reliable systems at scale, that's going to become even more valuable.
Any final thoughts for teams just starting to explore this?
Start small, measure everything, and maintain healthy skepticism. This technology is powerful, but it's not magic. The teams succeeding are those treating AI agents as tools to augment human expertise, not replace it. And remember, the goal isn't to eliminate toil completely, it's to eliminate meaningless toil so your team can focus on work that actually moves the needle on reliability and performance.
That's a great perspective to end on. The agentic revolution isn't about replacing SREs, it's about evolving the role to focus on what humans do best.
Exactly. The future of SRE isn't human versus machine. It's human with machine, tackling problems neither could solve alone. That's our show for today.
If you found this valuable, please subscribe and share with a friend who'd appreciate it.
Drop us a comment with your thoughts on today's topic.
Links to everything we discussed are in the show notes.
And check out platformengineeringplaybook.com for more resources and guides. Until next time.